In the world of trading, everyone seems obsessed with technical analysis. They draw support and resistance lines, memorize chart patterns, and add a bunch of indicators, and believe that's all they need to succeed. But let me ask you this. What happens when you're trading a stock that goes parabolic from $1 to $7 in just a couple days, broke through all the resistance lines that you drew, and suddenly it dumps against you? Do chart patterns actually give you enough conviction to trade? I'm here to tell you that technical analysis alone isn't enough. To survive in your trading, you need to pair it with deep fundamental analysis. I'm David Capablanca, a verified millionaire trader, and I've been trading since 2016, won second place in an official trading competition, and verified by these notable firms. In this video, I'll show you exactly how I combine the fundamental statistics of a stock with technical analysis to develop a real sustainable edge. You are going to learn 3 critical lessons that can transform the way you trade. Number 1, how to combine technical and fundamental analysis for higher win rate. Number 2, why understanding a stock's fundamentals can keep you out of massive short squeezes. Number 3, the importance of trading with a plan, including when to take profits and when to step aside. I want to show you 2 stocks that recently squeezed from $1 to $7 and $8 per share. The first stock is WKEY. I don't rely on chart patterns like double tops or bull flags because they are not the real factors that move a stock up or down. What truly moved this company's stock, WiseKey International Holding, is the fact that it needs to raise cash. Let me know in the comments section if you agree with this. So here's how I analyze this chart. Okay, so WKEY on Friday, December 13th, it went up, it halted up out of nowhere right here. And that was almost 100% halt up. And with that halt up, it attracted a lot of shorts, and yeah, it was consolidating all day, absorbing shorts. They had a catalyst that came out exactly during that halt up, that they have some kind of news with SpaceX. They're launching a satellite launch with SpaceX. And SpaceX, that's enough to launch it. You got Elon Musk tied to it. A lot of short sellers underestimated it, and as it was consolidating, looks like it was absorbing short sellers. And then a power hour short squeeze, and more consolidation. And now today's Monday, we have continuation going on. On Friday, though, I did take a shot at it, so the stock met my criteria, and I took a shot. It was a small size because on Fridays, I don't want to be aggressive on Fridays because Fridays, there are, it's typically known for a short squeeze, are more likely to happen on a Friday than most other days. So also this price action right here was really sketch. This told me that someone could have hogged up the float. I mean, someone could have hijacked the float. This is a very manipulative price action. 2.5 million floats. So when the price is low and the float is low, somebody could take up that float. Someone could just hijack it, or someone knows the news ahead of time and someone, takes a majority of that float. And then you got short sellers left to fight for the rest, and in power hour they start to get squeezed. And then now today we even have more continuation going on. It's past the warrants. Well, the warrants are unregistered. Now let's look into the fundamental reasons behind this price action. Why did it gap up in the morning, and why did it push higher in the afternoon? So again, the news catalyst was tied to SpaceX, and SpaceX is tied to Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is all the rage right now. So that you can't underestimate that catalyst. It has a lot of juice on it, especially on a Friday, and especially at power hour after the stock is consolidating, holding its highs all day long. Another part with that, going over that price action, that halt up, that double halt up, I believe it halted twice up out of it's immediately when the news hit. That looked like sketch price action right there. Someone hijacked the float, most likely. 2.5 million float trading under $4 before the news came out. That is a relatively low price for someone with millions of dollars, but not an outlandish amount that that's unfathomable. That is very realistic that someone could have taken a majority of that float, which could have led to a short squeeze on Friday. And now today's Monday, more continuation. And speaking about the catalyst is strong. So when you have a catalyst tied to SpaceX, yeah, that's strong, because you got SpaceX is tied to Tesla. Tesla's tied to Elon Musk. Elon Musk is tied to Donald Trump. So very, very strong news. And Elon Musk is also tied to Dogecoin, and Dogecoin is tied to crypto, and crypto is tied to Bitcoin. And all those are strong sectors right now. And also Tesla recently hit the key number 420. So all that's tied together. And WKEY, even though it's a really bad company, hasn't really done anything. It's now riding the coattails of all those strong stocks. However, most of the time, the news is just a hook released by companies to garner the attention of traders. The big players are the ones who are truly able to move the stock. In this case, I want to know the intention of the company. According to statistics, these small cap companies tend to pump their stocks to raise cash. They understand what retail traders are likely going to do, and they would counter the behavior in order to push the stock price even higher. This is why I always research the dilution history of a stock, and more importantly, I want to look into their SEC filings to look for certain keywords. Pay attention now. I'm going to reveal some of my secret research techniques. If you're ready to learn and try these methods in your own process too, please give me a free like in this video. So also with WKY, I like to see over here the insights section on Ask Edgar outside of the filings. Gives you some of the recent news that it has, and it clearly says right there SpaceX. And then you can see they have some fluff kind of news for the most part. You know, this one, Deep Tech Peace Movement. Yeah, they got some Seal Coin. Seal Coin is tied to LAES, which also ran recently along with WKY. And yeah, you can see they had some convertibles over here. One thing I found with WKY, they recently had some news dealing with China. So that's always a red flag for me. So this one right here on December 10th has Deep Tech for Peace Movement. So this is like some fluff news going on. In addition, an important delegation from China presented one of the longest murals created on papyrus paper. So anyways, that's always a red flag when I see China involved, because if they have the news ahead of time, you know, they can do some sketchy things with it. Oh, and I saw saw something about NFTs in here. Anyways, NFTs are always trash. So one thing I wanted to just re-emphasize, when I saw that double halt up in the morning after the news was released, you know, an indication that the stock is going to be highly manipulated. So that's whenever you see something like that, when the news hits and the stock halts up, you know, very violently, and it's not like a nano float, it's not a sub 1 million float stock or anything, you got to be skeptical. You know, the stock might be manipulated all day long, try to just play games all day long. So, and you see this a lot with highly manipulated stocks, especially like the tight halt band stocks, you know, with stocks that close under 75 cents and open up above 75 cents. They play these games with the halts. So, you know, so that means, you know, the float is being locked up and being manipulated all throughout the day. And with WKY, it wasn't as drastic because the float is not a nano float and there wasn't halt bands, but it was just absorbing short sellers all day long, setting up for that Friday power hour squeeze. And it did, and there's even continuation until Monday. By understanding the motive of a stock through fundamental research, I know how aggressive I should be, whether I should keep my position size small and stay cautious, or if it's a decent A+ setup for me. On the day one action of the stock, I was extremely skeptical, so I traded with small sizes and got quick scalps to lock in some small wins. Had I traded purely based on the technical price levels, I would have been taking a bad loss with the stock when it squeezed in the afternoon. Okay, so with WKY, when it squeezed during power hour, it was just, you know, consolidating all day long as short sellers kept getting sucked in. And, you know, once the stock breaks out during power hour, when it's holding near the highs and it's approaching that high of day, short sellers are looking to stop out, because a lot of short sellers use the high of day as their stop loss. So, and the manipulators or whoever is long the stock and the manipulators, they're watching those levels because it's a Friday, it's power hour. And it also just so happens to be Friday the 13th. So Friday, you know, so short sellers got that Freddy Krueger, you know, in the boogeyman in the back of their head as well. So I don't know, you know, it is Friday the 13th. So when those price levels are really clear to see, everyone's seeing it, and the manipulator is definitely seeing it, they're going to play games around those levels and get the stock to break out. Then you see the stock in power hour, you know, the last hour of the day, exactly, start to trend higher and break out to new levels, new high of days. So WKY, a couple of times as it was consolidating after the halts, it had some flushes, and those flushes are likely to lure in more short sellers in it. So the manipulator lets his feet off the gas for a second. Short sellers come in and they get squeezed, so more short sellers are in now. And then they do it again, more short sellers come in. So trading is counterintuitive, and beginner short sellers, when they see the stock starting to show weakness, they want to attack. They think it's gonna die. In actuality, it's not. So trading is counterintuitive. You got to understand that, like, those weaknesses are meant to attract more short sellers. And as more short sellers come in, there's more jet fuel for power hour. There's more fuel for the stock to squeeze. And you want to, you know, as a short seller, you want to avoid that. So for this stock, WKEY, I'm definitely going to watch it in the next few trading days, and I'm expecting it to push towards the 10s and 11 areas. All right, so WKEY was never an A+ setup for me. You know, it doesn't have any dilution, and it has the SpaceX news. So it doesn't classify as an A+ setup. However, I am a trader, I'm a profitable trader, and I give it a shot. I'll just use my C plus C setup size, and I underestimated the stock. It's not a C setup, it's worse than a C setup. So it comes down to just, you know, SpaceX is just a very strong news. When you have a big headline like that, it's better just to stay out. There are easier stocks to short and easier ways to make money. Yes, I made money from this stock on Friday because I traded it small, but it was not a good trade. I put myself at risk to get squeezed, and you know, and it could have been easily a red day, could have been easily the other way around. But I did give it a shot. I had my risk levels in place, and I had my trade thesis in place, and I understood what I was dealing with. It was a potentially highly manipulated stock, potential Chinese ties, and so I traded with small size and was quick to exit the trade. I was rotating shares actively, and once I realized this thing isn't breaking down, I didn't short it anymore. But it was not an A+ setup at all. I would say it was a C setup, and now on Monday, today I'm filming is Monday, looking it back in hindsight, that's a D setup. That's not even a setup. So it's better just to stay out, because it was a Friday, and Friday it tends to be a short squeeze day. So the stock is being relentless so far. So I should have just not traded it. But I traded it, and it worked out for me, but it wasn't ideal. Okay, so in order for me to trade this thing, ideally, I would need to see dilution. I would need to see like 2 or 3 levels of dilution, and I would like to see a little bit more cash need. Maybe like 3 months, around 3 months or less of cash need. Some registered warrants, convertibles, maybe an ATM. That's what I would have liked to see with it. Also, I would have liked to see less of a catalyst. You know, maybe not SpaceX. If it could have just been some more something lesser known than SpaceX, would have been a lot better to deal with. But other than that, yeah, this stock wasn't ideal. It didn't fit any of those things. Also, if it wasn't a Friday, you know, so if the stock wasn't a Friday, it would have been more ideal as well. To help you better understand how to be comprehensive with fundamental analysis, I'm going to analyze another stock that I traded and made some decent profits as a short seller. GXAI. The fact that it has AI in its ticker symbol, you can already tell that this is likely going to be a short-lived pump and dump using AI-related agendas. I traded GXAI a few times, and here's how much I made on this stock. Again, I will walk you through how I analyze the chart and combine the price action with the key fundamental information about the company. Recently, I've been making more educational videos, and I really appreciate the positive feedback, as well as your DMs on Instagram and Twitter. One of the frequent asked questions is, how can you also short small cap stocks consistently like I do? I use Cobra Trading. A reliable broker is very crucial if you want to develop an edge in short selling. Cobra allows me to use their fast order execution speed so that I can always fill my limit orders at ideal prices. It is very important to not place market orders due to FOMO. The slippage of small cap stocks can be very detrimental to your profitability. So I recommend using Cobra's special routing services, REB25. Not only that you can trust Cobra to fill your limit orders, you will also get rebates that neutralize your trading commissions. Cobra also offers an extensive inventory of small cap stocks that you can borrow, so you don't have to worry about missing out on a potential A+ short setup. The borrow fees are very competitive. Plus, Cobra Prime gives you access to all other premium trading tools for free, such as Trade Ideas, Dilution Tracker, and Ask Edgar. All in all, Cobra Trading is my go-to broker to lower my trading costs and execute my trades confidently. GXAI was a more predictable pump and dump move that played out in a couple of trading days. However, it wasn't because of the technical chart pattern. As you can see on the daily chart, there are these inverted hammer candles that the fake gurus like to talk about. There's a long wick, so it must be bearish. But no, this stock gapped up again on the second day of this run, formed another bearish daily candle, and had its biggest squeeze on the third day. If you only rely on technical analysis, you would have been caught in these short squeezes. Let's look at the news catalyst. Okay, so with GXAI has had a ticker change. It used to be NFTG, just like the non-fungible token and the G at the end. So this NFTG IPO'd at the end of 2021 or so, at the end of the NFT mania, and from what I remember, it didn't catch the exact top or the hype of the NFT mania. It came in when NFTs were on their way out, and I remember this because I was in Puerto Rico at the time and NFTs were all the rage. And I had an eye out for the stock NFTG, because I was getting paid pump text messages at the time about NFTG. And NFTG was run at the time, it was run by these sketchy Russian dudes. So yeah, that's how I remember NFTG. And if you zoom out on GXAI, the 2-year chart, you can see I made a note. Man, wow, so it's been that long. Oh yeah, right here, NFT. It was NFTG. So by me knowing that it's NFTG, it gives me conviction about the stock that this has the potential to do a pump and dump pattern, which it ended up doing, as you can see here. That is the pump and dump pattern. So it's always useful to know if the ticker used to be another ticker, because a lot of times these companies will try to change their tickers to kind of throw their dirty laundry under the bed, you know, to kind of just cover things up because you really can't, like for example, I'm using Thinkorswim right now. I don't think NFTG even shows up. Yeah, so it's almost like it never existed. But I know it was NFTG. If you look at the filings, it says NFTG in the filings. And that's how I remember it. So it's always good to remember. Also, if you go back enough on the news, they announced it that it used to be NFTG. And now the company, they switched. So it's very interesting to note that the company used to be NFTG, and it was trying to ride the hype of NFTs. And then, of course, they switched the ticker to GXAI to catch the AI hype. So we know what they're up to. And knowing this information gives me more confidence to stay in the trade a little longer, to size up a little bit more, and just to have, in general, just more conviction in my trades. And that is very important, you know, to have conviction, you know, so it just gives you a little bit of more, you know, of everything to be able to take the trade with more confidence and more clarity and perform your best with the trade. Before I decided to take any trade, the most important statistics that I must find out are the float and the institutional ownership. Okay, so for a stock like GXAI, this stock is a basic borderline scam, so there's not institutional ownership will be like basically non-existent. And I like to see that. I like the competition, my competition entering the trade, the other side of the trade to be less competition. So by lack of institutional ownership, that means that there's highly unlikely to be algorithms that are competing against me. So I mean, there could still be algorithms. It's less likely when the institutional ownership is non-existent. It's more scammy. You know, the company is not vouched for. There's going to be less big players involved, and I like to see that on the short side. So on any significant run up, I can categorize this thing as a pump and dump, as whatever it is, ticker change, borderline scam, and I can trade it accordingly. So combining these statistics, this stock is tradable for me. However, it is not a trade that I would hold longer or swing. I like to recycle shares, which means that this is a squeezy environment and that I gotta respect the stocks can go for multiple days before they give it all back. So yeah, we know it's a pump and dump. We know it's gonna come back to where it came from, but is it gonna go up 300% or is it gonna go up 1,000%? I need to respect that, and that's what I do is to limit my risk is to recycle shares. So I limit my exposure by being in the trade for a short duration of time at a time. Common share recycling if you would want me to make a detailed tutorial on how I execute this style of trading. Now let's get into how I traded GXAI. Okay, so GXAI, I traded on this pocket of extension right here on the first day, first hour or so. Second day, I did the same thing. So the trick is not to get squeezed in the pre-market, not to overstay your welcome, not to swing these things, not to let them gap up against you, and also not to overstay, even if you're short in the pre-market, not to overstay. You know, you cover before the market opens. And I shorted it actually midday over here at the break of the pre-market highs and the break of the prior day's highs, because that's where short sellers have their stops. So if I'm able to read the stock clearly, that okay, that's a lot of short sellers stops is this, and it blew past that. It skipped past it in the pre-market. So that's one level, it already blew it. And now the next level is the pre-market highs, and it blew that. So then that's my entry. And I cover because I know short, it can squeeze. And see, that's what happened the next day. So the next day, it actually went on SSR. It touched SSR at the open. It was fading 10% down, and it's super squeezed. So, you know, you got to respect it. And yeah, I captured the first 2 days. You know, I was, even though it was overall going up, trending up over the first 2 days, since I'm able to recycle shares and stay nimble in the trade, I can think clearly and I'm calm. I can make really good decisions to be able to trade efficiently during the time I'm in the trade. And I'm in there and I'm gone. You know, so but as we can see, it squeezes on SSR, has a blow off top the next day, which is usually, that's the beginning of the end, the blow off top. It was unsustainable, and now it's back to where it was, because like this whole move was based off of like nothing. Basically the news wasn't warranted. The AI sector really isn't as hot as the quantum sector or the drone sector was previously. So yeah, now it's on its way out. Look out, this is a classic small cap stock framework right there. Okay, so the second day of the run, at the break of the pre-market highs, I was able to read it clearly, and that's why I took in a short and I covered at the VWAP. So I'm staying on the defensive here because I know that this stock still can squeeze more, and that's why when I know the overall trend of this is bullish because of the amount of short sellers that are in it getting squeezed, then I want to be defensive. I want to be defensive in the sense where I'm shorting it on the extension, but I'm covering at the VWAP. I'm not looking for an all-day fader. I'm just looking to get a piece of that move where it's clear to me what's going on. And what's going on is the shorts are getting blown out because the pre-market highs is breaking out from the pre-market highs, and that's where shorts have their stops, and that's where I'm looking to take a trade and just cover and move on. Now that the stock has retraced almost 50% of its gains during the run, I would be keeping it on my watch list for a potential round 2 pump. If you also traded GXAI or a similar small cap setup, let me know how it went for you in the comments. I hope you've learned something that you can incorporate into your trading. I enjoy making educational content like this, and my goal is to help developing traders understand the reality of trading rather than the monetary aspects. Please give me a thumbs up if you'd like to see more videos like this. For my channel membership content, I also share daily stock analysis videos that include immediate thoughts and trade insights on the day when the moves happen. If you're interested in real-time trade analysis, feel free to join my YouTube membership to unlock more videos.